A little bit of a history. The car has 186,000 miles on it. About 2 years ago, it had 176, and the shop did the water pump, the fan clutch, bled the system, out of the heater core as well. At 183, I had just worked on the car and just taken over responsibility of the car for my family, and it started to overheat. I ended up diagnosing it as the clutch fan. I mean the fan clutch, and I got that and got a decent quality or decently used one. Put that in and it fixed it. And then this week, after filling up the coolant, topping it off, I started to leak coolant and my car started overheating at idle or if I was below 2,000 RPM. What happened was I filled the car up again. I topped it off with coolant. The car would get up to operating temperature, and then I was saying that I would top off the coolant, get it up to operating temperature, and the car would start to overheat and leak coolant. I would get out of the car and see that the coolant was draining through where is it? This hose, this guy right here, which is the overflow. Okay, so it comes down from the expansion tank, all right, and then it just spits it out by the firewall, and it drops down to the ground. So it would come out to my car, and I would see all kinds of coolant just like that. It's too sunny. I don't know if you can see the stain of coolant coming right down behind the wheel. So I did that twice. One time the coolant seemed to stay in the car for a little bit, and I idled it for about 20 minutes, and it was fine. I went to the store the next day, and it started to overheat and spit out coolant again. So I figured that the coolant reservoir, or the expansion tank, whatever you want to call it, might be cracked or something, or gunked up. So I replaced it with one from the parts car. So the one from the parts car is the one that's in there right now. This is the original one. You can see, just looking at the side, this kind of orange stuff. It's caked on it. You can look down in there. If I can get it from the sun. I don't know if you can see in there, probably not. But there's just this orange stuff all over it. Inside of it too, so I think it might have been making it so it wasn't flowing well. Maybe I can get you to see. This part broke off right there, but you can see that gun. That's a return line. I think this is what sends coolant in towards the radiator. I'm not totally sure. Let me go look at that. Okay, so the line we were just looking at that was gunked up would have been right here. So this is the overflow line. This line would be, I don't know, I guess it goes through here, back around to the radiator. So I'm trying to work this out in my head since I still confuse myself with these things. This is from the water pump up to the thermostat. This is what opens up. The thermostat opens this up and lets the coolant flow into the radiator. Now I've confused myself. Anyway, the point was that this was clogged up. So I'm thinking now that I replaced that expansion tank, and it's still spitting up coolant. It's still spitting up coolant through the same spot, through there, and it's still overheating. So I pretty much came to the conclusion that I had to bleed my system. Given that the water pump was new, relatively new, I didn't think that was a failure. It was spitting up coolant, so obviously the fan clutch has nothing to do with that. After seeing the expansion tank, the original one, the condition it was in with all that orange gunk, I believe that my car just needs to be bled again, and that it's dirty on the inside, it's clogged. So I'm going to be taking it apart and cleaning it. One note I want to make is that yesterday I was trying to diagnose it some more, just to kind of knock things out, knock out possible issues. One is the thermostat, okay? So I let the car get to operating temperature, and I checked the temperature between this hose and this hose. And I guess the trick is that if the thermostat is not opening even at operating temperature, this hose will remain cool when this one's hot. So this one will heat up, the thermostat's stopping the coolant right here, and if the thermostat's malfunctioning, it will not open up and this will remain cool. Well, this one got hot, so the thermostat was working. So the thermostat's not the issue, even though I ordered a new one anyway. So I'm really just thinking that my system is clogged, that for whatever reason it's not letting the new coolant flow through the system, is building up pressure. When it hits, you know, X amount of pressure, it's just throwing up all the coolant through the you know, the exhaust tube or the overflow tube or whatever you want to call it. So yesterday I came through and just figured, you know, might as well get going. I undid the drain screw, which should be right there. It's out right now. It drained the radiator. Let's go see what came out of the radiator. At first, of course, the leaves in it from now since I left it under the car overnight. But at first, nothing really came out except for this really thick black liquid that you can see up at the top there. And then after about 30 seconds or a minute, the coolant started to come out, and it's pretty dirty. Not as dirty as I thought it was last night. I guess it was in the shadows last night, but clearly not as clean as I would want it. So now I'm going to go ahead and start taking some hoses off and inspect them, and I think pull the radiator.